Hello, my name is Tom Wright. I am a volunteer producer at CTN, the cable access television station in Ann Arbor. I have had the honor of working with them for over 10 years. They are now celebrating 50 years of serving our community. Today we are introducing the Ann Arbor Public Schools CMPP Magnet Program videos for broadcast on CTN after a brief hiatus. Thank you for your time and consideration.
One day I was driving down 8 Mile Road, the famous, infamous dividing line between Detroit and the northern suburbs, and the subject of a movie and all that stuff. And out of the corner of my eye, I saw some sort of demonstration going on. Looked like some kind of protest activity, and I wanted to see what was going on. So I made a U-turn on 8 Mile Road. I was near a street called Greenfield. And at that intersection, at that time, there was a swimming pool, a privately owned swimming pool, that was open to white people only. And there was a protest underway about this racist, segregated policy of the swimming pool. So I figured out from the signs what it was about, and I said, well, I agree with those people. So I parked my car and went and joined the picket line. I didn't know anybody on the picket line. The news coverage that night on TV was enough to get my father to say, basically, throw me out of the house. So I became very independent, because that turned out to be the beginning of my becoming involved in the movement.
We were rebels without causes who found causes.
I go from a very local demonstration on 8 Mile Road into becoming involved with a national organization, and then ultimately becoming involved in an international movement to oppose the war. And I still carry with me to this day this sort of local, national, global perspective. We don't pay enough attention, it seems to me, to the aspect of violence, even though it's now staring us in the face in the reality that there's no safe place in the United States. Not a church, not a grocery store, not a school, not a concert. No place is safe, because the violence has proliferated to such a great extent that I now talk about living in a culture of violence in which we are trying to create a culture of peace. But all of that traces its way back to this notion of white people taking on white ways of organizing society and white ways of thinking. And this work in the cities or in rural communities in the South, in Mississippi and Alabama and Georgia, is all in response to the problem of white supremacy and racial hierarchy that's created by white people. So, like, white people, why don't you go work in the white community? That's where the problem is. And so I did that. Throughout my life, there's a recurring theme of involvement with media and communications. And I had worked on the Fifth Estate and done other writing for other publications. And that kind of helped me transition into a radio job, where I went to work in the news department of WABX radio. And we did sort of mix the music and the news, and we did have an attitude back in the day. But FM radio was coming to the end of being in its rebellious, free-form phase. I got fired from that job too, for being too much of a troublemaker. Story of my life. And then I got a job as the news director at WDET, the public radio station in Detroit. So I worked in commercial radio, public television. Since my retirement, I have been as politically active as ever in my life. Activism requires a grounding in theory, in ideas, in values, in reading, and in study. It's not just, we cannot just protest our way to the promised land. One of the realities of political activism is that you might not know at the moment what impact you're having. It's easy to get discouraged. You might think you're hardly having any impact, but maybe 5 months later, or maybe 5 years later, or maybe 50 years later, you'll be able to look back and better understand what is the difference that you're making. You already have a more accurate version of history than I did when I was your age. Because of the freedom movement, because of African American studies, because of movies that have been made and books that have been written, particularly by Indigenous and African American scholars, you are starting with a far greater awareness than I did. I'm now finding myself, one, discouraged by how little progress has been made in that regard, and how much institutionally and systemically and individually white supremacy is still predominant. I actually like the term woke because I think I see people waking up. Because what's the alternative to being awake, being asleep, being oblivious, being in denial? Because people coming to the awareness of not just how wrong this path is, but how dangerous it is necessary to really deep social change. I actually think the biggest lesson that I have learned in life is just how pervasive violence is in our society, and how essential it is to preserving all of the other systems of inequality and of hierarchy. But I think this concept of thinking culturally about peace and harmony and being in harmony with rivers and lakes and forests and animals and other human beings is a lesson that I'm glad, even at my advanced age, I finally figured out.
Welcome to the Pediatric Patient Stories Project.
The goal of the project is to provide hope, strength, and courage through storytelling.
What I would like to do is be a nurse or a doctor because of all of my experiences that I've had at Mott Hospital.
One thing that helps me, I was like learning a bit more of like my disease I'll be going through. I'll be asking my nurse like all the time. I was like, oh, why you giving me this medicine? Oh, why you giving me that medicine? It's just like, oh, so basically, Patrick, this is like what this medicine helps out with.
That it's okay and that not to be afraid, to be calm and take deep breaths.
These videos give a sense of connectedness, companionship, and the feeling that you are not alone.
See ya.
Trauma and Society is a psychoeducation and social studies course where students learn about trauma from a critical perspective and develop skills that can make coping with trauma more manageable.
Alright, what's your name?
Noah.
Doron.
Greta.
Julia.
So do you think you know somebody with trauma?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Some people say trauma or PTSD can make school worse. How/why do you think that happens?
They can't truly focus on schoolwork in general after that, or
Like when you already have limited hours, it kind of makes it harder to deal with that piling of things that you need to be on top of.
Would a course that teaches skills to cope with trauma be helpful?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Yes.
It feels like one of those things that really should already be in school.
We created the Trauma and Society course for those reasons. 1, to give information, skills, and support to learn about trauma and get social studies course credit for your work. And 2, to give students interested in human service careers a chance to learn what it's like to have expertise to work with traumatized people.
Individual trauma results from an event, series of events, or circumstances that is experienced by an individual as physically or emotionally harmful or life-threatening.
Here are some things you might want to know about the course. The Trauma and Society course is a non-disclosure zone. That means you'll be talking about trauma, but not about your trauma. It's a present and future-focused course. The knowledge and skills will help you meet life goals young adults have, personal goals, career goals, or both. The course is uplifting. It's action-oriented. We teach about trauma effects so they become more manageable. The goal is for you or the people with trauma you might work with in your future job to feel better emotionally, in your body, and in relationships.
Yeah, it is. It's great. It's a great place. I've been with the VA system for 16 years. And here at the Fisher House is definitely more of a family than employees. One woman, she had a hard time sleeping at night, and she would bake, and we would come in, and there would be so many items that you could eat and stuff, and people would just gather. We would all just talk, and everybody would swap what's going on with their lives and things like that. But it was a great experience because she said that it just relaxed her to be able to bake and cook, and there was always nice things with that. Although she was stressed out, but we all enjoyed it.
Oh, that's good.
I think the biggest benefit is getting to know our guests on a personal level. You get to know what they're going through, the good, the bad, the ugly, and they do become like family. We've got quite a few people that have stayed here for a long period of time, unfortunately, but that's what we're here for. And you become invested, and it's so good to see the ones that come out healthier and better and stronger. But then it's also something to be supportive when their family member is, if it's end of life or anything like that, to know that we were able to help them get through that and give them a safe haven around people that they may truly care. Because we do become personally invested in just making sure that they're okay and they have what they need, no matter what the situation may be.
This mission here at Fisher House is to serve families of veterans and sometimes also veterans with a loved one when a veteran is getting outpatient care here, but mostly families of hospitalized veterans. And we all come from a family. We know what it's like to be in a family, and if you've ever been a family in crisis dealing with a medical problem, I think we just have an understanding of what that could be like. So what we can do here at Fisher House is just try to lighten their burden a little bit and provide them with a true home away from home, so they're comfortable, they can come away from the hospital and get, have a peaceful environment here and get rested and fed and, to be ready for the next day that they face with their loved ones.
Everybody is hungry at some point, but some people don't have the opportunity to satisfy that hunger because they don't have food.
We have a lot of different resources for food, so hunger isn't usually the issue. It's more of accessing your weekly groceries, your constant, your security, your safety.
Hi, this is SOS Food Pantry. My name's Grace. How may I help you?
And we're very generous with how little information we're asking. We're not trying to make people do a full application or anything like that. It's good to track, but we don't want anyone to feel like they've been pushed away from it. They should have access to it no matter what. Whether they have housing or have ID or anything, we don't need it. We just want them to have their stuff. So this space has been redesigned to be shoppable, so you can kind of see, for example, it's more about beautification and enjoyment and less about stalking as much as you can. But when they're shopping, they'll move through this whole process.
My name is Maya Grant. I'm the SOS Food Pantry Coordinator. The food pantry could always have more volunteers, especially with the new system that is coming into place. We've recently transitioned into being a shoppable pantry, and so we need more people to be able to take care of our clients on a more personal level.
I think that everybody should have the perspective of what it looks like if you don't have everything you need, because it puts things in perspective for you and makes you very thankful for what you have, and it opens your eyes to a lot of inequalities and injustices that go on and that keep happening.
Giving out to the community makes me feel good, gives me something to do, my spare time. Because I think it's a wonderful opportunity. You get to help out in the community, and you get to meet some great people and some hard workers, and you get.
Worldwide, emissions and waste have negatively impacted the environment and humanity. From 2018 to 2019, solid waste disposal in Michigan landfills increased by 6.2%, the largest spike seen in the last decade. In 2021, 51,174,897 cubic yards of waste were disposed in Michigan landfills. This is more than enough trash to circle the entire Earth. The increasing amounts of waste and emissions are a product of the linear economy, which a majority of the world operates.
So linear economy is easily summed up by the term take, make, waste. So it's an economy that relies on extracting resources from the earth, manufacturing them in some way, processing them in some way. You use it and then you dump it somewhere else, or you burn it, or it ends up in the ocean. By contrast, a circular economy uses the same inputs over and over again. So you start with, say, stainless steel, you turn it into a spoon, you use the spoon many times, the spoon gets broken or damaged in some way, you melt it down into stainless steel, you use that spoon again. So it's a continuous loop of resource use, and this can be applied to agriculture or transportation, all kinds of things, anything that keeps goods and materials in a cycle. It's something that explicitly avoids the extraction process that has caused so much environmental harm, caused so much human harm. So the circular economy is really, if it's built correctly, a chance for us to remake all of our systems in a way that actually works for people and works for the planet.
Local organizations like Live Zero Waste are working to promote participation in circular economies.
Live Zero Waste's goal is to empower people wherever they are, whether they're in their homes or at their works or as voters, to create a zero waste world and to limit the extraction and exploitation of nature and people's bodies and environmental health as much as we can through building zero waste systems.
One of Live Zero Waste's current initiatives is partnering with local restaurants to establish a returnable takeout container program.
Mohammed. I work at El Harissa. We're my family-owned El Harissa. It's a North African, Mediterranean restaurant. And we're at 1516 North Maple Road, just over there. So I was brought into the development of this program pretty early on. So they knew that I was passionate, independent of my business, passionate about sustainability, and so they reached out and I jumped at the opportunity. During the pandemic, a lot of restaurants, El Harissa included, had to pivot to mostly a takeout model. So we still are using a lot of containers. Use of individual single-use plastics has kind of skyrocketed. And so this program is a way of kind of cutting back on that use of single-use plastics.
Hi, my name is Sue Schooner and I'm the Executive Director of Girls Group. The mission of Girls Group is to work with girls and young women in middle school and high school, help them meet their full potential, and help them get on the path to economic and emotional self-sufficiency.
I think Girls Group has impacted me for my confidence. Last year I was not really confident in myself, and I feel we do a lot of confidence boosters here.
I think the impact is huge. Certainly when I was growing up, I didn't have a voice and nobody cared who I was or what I thought and what I wanted to be. And I think as early as possible, people should be told that their voice matters, and that they should own their voice and speak their voice, because if we have a voice and we listen to it, then we have, the potential to be our best selves.
And just having a space to talk and actually share my feelings with people I'm comfortable with. It has has really motivated me and made me want to go to school. And also being open with the mentors is really great because I can talk to them about a lot, and it's just a really helpful program overall.
It's really prepared me because I originally didn't have a plan for college. I knew that I wanted to go. I didn't know how I was going to get there, and they've been helping me with my applications for college and scholarships and figuring out what I want to do and what path I want to take next in life.
I love you, girls group.
Love you, girls group. Love you, girls group.
Love you, girls group.
Love you, girls group.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome to the Pediatric Patient Stories Project.
The goal of the project is to provide hope, strength, and courage through storytelling.
What I would like to do is be a nurse or a doctor because of all of my experiences that I've had at Mott Hospital.
One thing that helps me, I was like learning a bit more of like my disease I'll be going through. I'll be asking my nurse like all the time, I was like, oh, why you giving me this medicine? Oh, why you giving me that medicine? It's just like, oh, so basically, Patrick, this is like what this medicine helps out with.
That it's okay and that not to be afraid, to be calm and take deep breaths.
These videos give a sense of connectedness, companionship, and the feeling that you are not alone.
See ya.
Welcome to the Corner Health Center. The mission of the Corner is to provide judgment-free and affordable health care to anyone ages 12 through 25 and their children. The Corner Health Center started in Ypsilanti High School as the first health center in a school in the state of Michigan.
So I'm Markia Jones. I'm a family nurse practitioner here at the Corner Health Center, so one of the primary care providers. We provide so many services, ranging from primary care services, mental health services. We do STD testing and screening and treatment. We have a gender affirming care program.
Hi, I'm Riley. I'm the health educator at the Corner. The two youth programs that we have are our Youth Leadership Council, and then we have our theater troupe who does performing arts to educate around health issues to young people in the area.
My name is Josiah Jones, and I'm a part of the theater troupe at the Ypsilanti Corner. My favorite part of being in the theater troupe is probably all the games, all the people I meet.
So you can get involved in those through multiple ways. You can call us, send us an email, or go on any of our social medias to sign up and get more information.
Thank you for viewing the Ann Arbor Public Schools CMPP Magnet Program videos.